welcome to this week's Heal Hydrate Faster. Hi, Hannah. We've got Hannah here. I'm so freaking excited to have Hannah here, you guys. So for those of you who are watching, welcome. We do weekly interviews inside this Facebook group. They're also uploaded to YouTube. And what we do is we like to bring in different professionals from different categories, from all different types of, like, whether it's like health or sports or whatever, and we talk about the benefits of whether it's hydration in general or whether it's electrolyzed reduced water, which is what we promote obviously inside this Facebook group. And so this week we have Hannah. And how do you say your last name, Hannah? Is it I'm not even going to try.
Penaluna.
Penaluna. That's
Penaluna.
That's what I was going to say. I would have been right. Awesome. We have the wonderful, amazing, incredible Hannah Penaluna here. And I actually recently met Hannah at my property. She actually came out here like a month ago with her family because she is living here now from Australia, which is really cool. So I'm going to read to you guys, and I learned all about her. And that's when I was like, you've got to come on and do this interview, right? But I want to read a little bit about Hannah before Hannah, and then we're going to ask Hannah some questions. And we're going to talk to her about what she does, because Hannah is a mother of 4 and she's a home birth midwife. Show some love for Hannah in the comments if you love home birth midwives, because I know I do, right? Following her 3rd baby, she became a consumer representative and passionate maternity advocate, amazing, advocating for women who are pregnant, then decided to move into the midwifery world, graduating from Griffith University in Queensland, Australia, 7 years ago. So she's been practicing for 7 years. Since then, she has worked across a full scope of midwifery, working in rural and remote regions of Australia. She now calls North Georgia home. Yay, welcome. After relocating to the US with her family, her home birth practice is Sovereign Heart Midwifery Services. How beautiful is that? I absolutely love that. And I've already told Hannah that if I ever get pregnant again, who knows what will happen in the world. I'm like, you're going to be my midwife, right? And so I first want to say, if you're watching this live, please show some love for Hannah. We really appreciate your time coming on here, Hannah. And I really want to I want to ask you a couple of questions. So I want to say thank you for taking the 15, 20 minutes that we're going to do today. And I want to ask you a couple of questions because you have been a home birth midwife, or not even, you haven't just been home birth though. You were also in hospitals for a while, right?
Yeah, that's right. So I've worked in home birth, but yeah, most recently, I guess I have been working in remote areas of Australia. So yeah, so working in the hospital system, but very, very remote. So working out in Indigenous communities, and yeah, I have loved what I've done, and I've worked in birth centers, and I've worked on regular hospital wards, and yeah, and attended some home births as well. So I'm really excited to be in the home birthing world full time now.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, I think home births are just so beautiful. So with that, being a midwife for 7 years, I'm sure that you've experienced and you've come across lots of different situations with women being pregnant. And I know that I've learned, I wish I would have known what I knew now when I was pregnant with my first child, and then I learned a little bit more, and then I got pregnant with my second child. And then if I ever got pregnant again, I'm sure I would do it even better, right? Because every single time we learn, we do better for ourselves. But I was curious, and I've always heard, it's like, and it makes sense. A pregnant mama equals, a healthy mama equals a healthy baby, right? Like you can't really give birth to a healthy baby if you yourself, when you're pregnant, aren't healthy. And so I was curious if you wanted to kind of go into that a little bit of what that kind of looks like from a perspective, whether it's water or hydration or any of the other things.
Absolutely. So I think, in our midwifery training, just the same as in mainstream medicine, we get given very little training in terms of diet, nutrition, and especially hydration. I mean, we get given the little directives that you read off of a piece of paper and recommending for women to, consume 2 to 3 liters of water a day. But truthfully, the research actually shows that over half of all pregnant women are dehydrated, and dehydration is directly related to how well your placenta functions. So if you're very, very dehydrated, your placenta is not going to be functioning at full capacity. And if you do not have a placenta that is functioning at full capacity, then you are not going to be able to grow your baby well. It's as simple as that. So it's a huge concern that over half of all pregnant women are dehydrated in pregnancy. So hydration in pregnancy is directly related to maintaining amniotic fluid levels. So the environment that your baby is growing in prevents low blood pressure, obviously, so the first thing that if you have issues with low blood pressure, which a lot of pregnant women do, you may feel like a bit nauseous, you may feel lightheaded, some women even pass out in pregnancy, and that the first thing that they will do, the first line management, is put an IV in and give you fluids. So how about if we just didn't get dehydrated in the first place and we actually concentrated on our fluid intake? Right. So I feel like the Western medicine world is really lacking in this area. And now moving over into the realm of home birth, it's really important to focus on this. We want women in our practice to be healthy, eating a very nutrient-rich diet, and most importantly, to be well hydrated. It's fundamental to how their baby will grow, and it's directly related to also, your baby's birth weight and their crown rump length, which is, essentially, I guess, medical jargon for how long your baby will grow, how heavy your baby will be at birth.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. No, I mean, like, it makes sense though, because if you think about water is life. Like every single creature, anything on life, like, needs water to survive. Anything that's alive, like, needs. So it makes sense that, like, if you were going to be creating, I think it's like a miracle that women like grow humans. Like, I think it's crazy. We grow humans inside of us.
I mean, and looking at the other thing that, our blood volume as well is in pregnancy increases by 30 to 50%. And so if we're not well hydrated, then our body is working so hard. We have to increase that blood volume by 30 to 50%. So, all of that is related to our hydration.
Right. Yeah, totally. I mean, I think that, so I guess it's good for mamas to know when we have a comment coming in saying major mom guilt for not getting my Kangen in my nest before baby was earthside. Aw, Amy, but
I feel the same after doing this research. I was like, Hannah, what were you thinking?
But we only, it's like, when we know better, we do better. And it's so good to know now, like, what we know. So, but, at any point we ever, do decide to grow another human, we know that we can hydrate our baby so much faster and better. And so I'm also curious.
To some of the other moms, I'm all good. I've grown enough, I think, for me.
Oh yeah. And so with all of this, I'm really curious if you've learned, so obviously we know that hydration plays an important role, but I'm curious if you learned anything in your research about electrolyzed reduced water in general, since we are, we talk about that a lot, like in this group, we talk a lot about hydration because it's so important, but also how electrolyzed reduced water can actually hydrate your body up to 6 times more efficiently, which is amazing. And I know that there's still like not a whole ton of research out there yet, but I'm curious if you stumbled across any that's specific to ERW.
I did actually. I think only about one study, but the main, reoccurring theme in terms of electrolyzed reduced water was the role that it plays in preventing oxidative stress and how crucial what an impact oxidative stress has on pregnancy. So oxidative stress is an imbalance of free radicals. I know we talk a lot about free radicals. It plays an essential role in the pathogenesis of disease, and especially in chronic disease. So oxidative stress is also directly involved in pathophysiology relating to infertility. So basically, if our bodies have high levels of that oxidative stress, we're going to struggle to get pregnant to start with. And then on top of that, we're at higher risk of miscarriage, preeclampsia, fetal growth restriction. That again goes back to not being well hydrated. And obviously the electrolyzed reduced water is crucial in preventing that oxidative stress, which causes these things. It also is indicated in preterm labor as well. So while I didn't find specific studies relating to electrolyzed reduced water in pregnancy, I found specific studies relating to the fact that electrolyzed reduced water is safe in pregnancy, that electrolyzed reduced water plays a very crucial role in preventing oxidative stress. And then I found a lot of studies relating to oxidative stress and its impact on pregnancy-related concerns. So I do believe with those three things that you can actually relate it right back to pregnancy. It's very pertinent. So basically, oxidative stress in men can also cause reduced sperm motility. So if you've got a woman that has high levels of oxidative stress and is struggling to get infertility, struggling with her fertility, and you've got a man and they're partnered together, well, then baby making is not going to happen to start with. So that is the first issue there. But then also its direct impact on the actual pregnancy itself. So concerns relating to miscarriage, concerns relating to preeclampsia, high blood pressure in pregnancy, concerns relating to fetal growth restriction. So that's a baby that's not growing well. And the main reason why that baby is not growing well is because of placental insufficiency. So we know that the placenta is what gives our baby life. It's what passes those nutrients on, nutrients, minerals on from the mother to the baby. It's what gives our baby oxygen in utero. So, the electrolyzed reduced water was directly relating to the efficiency of the placenta in pregnancy, which is obviously the most important part, right? Because we can't have a pregnancy, we can't grow a baby at all if our placenta is not functioning well. So that was where I found a lot of research. But if you just type up pregnancy and electrolyzed reduced water, you're going to have to dig deeper really to find those research studies, but they're definitely there. And so that is where I found most of the research, and I was really excited about it actually, because I have never done this research myself. And I was saying just before we went on live that I'm really disappointed because I'm a midwife. So I've been banging on about diet and nutrition. With the limited knowledge that I was given in my degree. I've obviously done a lot more studies and am continuing to study in this area because it's so important. But hydration is life, and how can we put ourselves under the extra? I mean, obviously, pregnancy is a normal life event, right? But there are things that need to happen with our body in order for us to grow a healthy baby, and ultimately, that's what every mother wants, is for her to grow a healthy baby, for her baby to be healthy and well. And it starts with, thinking ahead to our fertility, planning well for it, hydrating our body well so that it's the right environment for us to get pregnant, and also nourishing our body as well.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I love that. When I became pregnant with Stella, which was 8 years ago, she's almost 8, so it's probably closer to 9 years ago. I was gifted a book, and it's called Nourishing Traditions, and I fell in love with it. And do you know that one?
I love it. Yes.
And I was given that book. It just came in the mail. Like I figured out who sent it to me, but I didn't even know at first. It just came in the mail. I'm like, who sent me this book? And I started reading it, and I was like, it changed my life. So for anybody who is considering getting pregnant, or maybe pregnant yourself right now, I highly recommend reading that book, Nourishing Traditions. It's actually a cookbook. There's a bunch of stuff in there that helps you learn how, but it's like also education and cookbook stuff. But yeah, diet's important, but then hydration. And I just love all the information that you gave. And I love that you've done the research and it's out there. So I guess, and I heard you say it, but I just want to reiterate for anyone watching this, you had mentioned that you did find a study that showed that electrolyzed reduced water in pregnancy is safe.
Yes. And I will try and link that at the end. I'll go back and get it for you. I think it might be upstairs. I might have left it on my bed upstairs because I just kind of wrote which ones I had found studies for. Another thing that I found, which was really interesting, is that also the placenta and its efficiency, obviously, I'm sure a lot of you will know, it has a critical role on our baby's neurodevelopment as well. So stress on the placenta and maternal stress disorders can also predispose our unborn baby to neurodevelopment disorders as well. So the more efficient that our placenta functions, the less risk to our unborn baby. So that was specifically relating to disorders like schizophrenia, ADHD, and autism. So there was actually some studies relating to that, I believe, as well. And I will link everything that I can possibly find relating to that. Yeah, I'll send you all the links. But yeah, it was incredible. So we're talking about issues surrounding weight gain and our baby's thriving. So essentially, what we would call failure to thrive on the outside world, but we're talking about that in utero when our placenta is not functioning well and not nourishing our babies. Right. So low birth weight babies, preterm labor, all these things, preeclampsia, they were essentially all being leaked back in some ways to hydration. Wow. So that's not to claim that, you know, you'll never have issues with those things if you are well hydrated. I mean, some of us have, you know, predispositions, but we can significantly reduce the risks by ensuring that we are well nourished, well hydrated.
Right, right.
And considering that over 50% of pregnant women are dehydrated, this is obviously a huge issue.
Right, right, absolutely. Epigenetics, we can control some of the things, right? We can control what we put into the body to help give that a better chance at nourishing that baby from the start. That's awesome. This has been so awesome, Hannah. Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just going to say if there's anything additional that you wanted to add that you thought was important before we end the call, if you have any notes that you want to kind of just throw in there.
Yes. So the other thing that hydration was directly related to as well. And so I think we can still continue to relate this back to the electrolyzed reduced water as well, because of the fact that it hydrates up to 6 times more. You know, we were talking about that. So I do believe that when we're talking about hydration, we're not just talking about how much water we're drinking, we're also talking about, you know, the quality of the water that we're drinking. And I know that I'm probably preaching to the converted here, but obviously it's not all on an even playing field. So hydration in pregnancy was also vital in maintaining amniotic fluid levels as well. And low fluid levels in pregnancy is directly related with higher rates of fetal distress. And we know that when we have higher rates of fetal distress, we're also leaving ourselves vulnerable to higher rates of intervention in giving birth as well. So if we have a baby that's distressed, we're at much higher risk of having an emergency cesarean section, which can also just sometimes really as mothers and as babies leave us a little bit on the back foot. You know, most mothers do want to try and avoid surgery when they're having their baby. Some of us need it, but it can create extra challenges, right, in getting our start to motherhood. So low fluid levels is directly relating to, again, hydration in pregnancy. And I do believe that if we're being able to be hydrated well by quality, you know, electrolyzed reduced water, then we are also reducing the risks with that. So low fluid levels directly relating to fetal distress, premature rupture of membranes, which is directly relating to then preterm birth, so having a premature baby. So that's another thing that's also really important to think about, you know, higher rates of surgery with a baby that has fetal distress, and then higher rates of premature birth. So there's serious risks. And I think we definitely need more research specifically in this area. But I also believe that the research we have now all points to this. You just have to look for it. And a very good midwife friend of mine, just kind of like in closing, she says, you know, in all of her consults, she'll say, a well-fed, well-hydrated, well-supported, well-educated, fearless woman will birth beautifully most of the time. And ultimately, that's what we want. We want a well mother and we want a well baby. So we need to focus on having a well pregnancy, right?
Yes. Oh, I love that. That's so beautiful. I love it. I love it. I love it.
I told her I was going to use it in my interview. I said, I love that so much. I'm going to use it in my interview. So
Is that the midwife that you're working with now in Georgia?
yes, she's awesome. I have learned so much from her. She's incredible.
Wow.
So, and I've really been liaising with so many awesome midwives. Home birth midwives, I mean, not all home birth midwives are as into diet and nutrition, but you will find generally that, you know, working outside of the hospital, your scope is widened in terms of diet and nutrition. And I know that with this midwife that I've been chatting with, she's been hugely interested in the electrolyzed reduced water as well. And I was telling her the studies that I was finding. So I'll go and look them up and I'll email them so that you can link it underneath this Zoom as well.
Awesome. You're amazing. Thank you so much for that. We did have a question from Amy. Any info about babies' exposure to tap water in birth versus filtered and Nestle water in birth? And I think that that's going to have to be a whole nother interview because it's a whole different, I
would love to check that out. So Amy, while you're listening, I'm definitely going to go deeper into this now that I've started. So that's more to come. And I think there probably will be limited studies, but again, if we dig deeper and we're looking at what all the studies are related to, we can relate that back to pregnancy.
Right. And I'll just say too, Amy, since you're watching right now, we do have, and Hannah, this will be good for you and also just to know, but we also have in our group, we have a webinar that we did about home water births and like the risks, I don't want to say risk because it sounds like you're like scaring someone away from water birth, but like of having tap water versus having like filtered water and how like baby's first breath is off gassed chlorine and what that affects. And like, it's like, not like the studies are direct. Yeah. It's not like they're direct to this, but like Hannah said, you go and you look for some of the research and you find what are they saying about off-gas chlorine and what is the harmful effect of that, and then you put the pieces together about what that could be, you know, what that your baby could be experiencing if that's the first thing, or even like the vernix and how it washes off when, you know, or how the chlorine actually deteriorates it where it's supposed to stay out. Like there's all kinds of things. And so there is a little bit in our group, Amy, about this already, but I would love to get Hannah to go deeper on it. And maybe we can do another webinar, a similar one, but like just, you know, because we kind of scratched the surface, but maybe we can even get Hannah to go.
Absolutely.
That'd be so cool. Awesome. Okay, cool. Well, I'm so excited. Thank you again, Hannah, for taking out, you know, the time
for having me.
Yes, of course. It's been awesome. So yeah, if anybody has any questions, feel free to put them in the comments and we'll get back to you guys as soon as we see them. And then do you want to add anything else before we head out, Hannah?
No, I'm really so grateful for the opportunity because it made me dive deeper and now I can actually really use this in my own practice. I mean, it's exactly what we were saying before. When you know better, you do better. And, you know, I've had 4 water births, just so you know, and they've all been in yucky, chlorinated tap water. So, and my babies are healthy and thriving. And, you know, but it is that thing that I have an Anespa now. And of course, I would make different decisions now. And I think it's a great opportunity to, dive deeper into this subject because we really are only just scratching the surface, but it's obviously so needed and the research is there. We just have to look for it and maybe be the ones to actually collate that research ourselves and give it to women.
Yeah, totally. Awesome. Yeah, I mean, we can pioneer it, right? We can be the ones.
Yeah, totally.
Awesome.
I love that.
Yeah. All right, Hannah, well, enjoy the rest of your day today. Stay cool in North Georgia. It's hot.
Yes.
And
so much.
Yes, thank you for being here. And thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time.
Bye.